for the very latest.
My pen is the paintbrush, notepad the easel. Been painting with a twist before, sipping with my people. Stacking lines, equal sign, this verse is the prequel to the man you hear before you flowing through your speakers. Therapeutic, these rhymes help me fight my evils. Pop's dead, brother in the hellhole, hot head. Wrote a song about it, like the head go. We are live and live in color, let your paintbrush flow. Now go.
Now, with that being said, so let's get into. I want to get into lyricism. I want to get into lyricism. I think that's a good way, coming from them two, with those freestyles. They definitely was lyrically gifted. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I'm thinking about the reason why I came up with this topic is because I was watching my OG in the podcast game, because I got a lot of people I look up to in the podcast game, and I was watching Mav Hoffa, and Mav Hoffa was interviewing, it was Joel Ortiz, and it was Crook. They are far. They come, those two. If y'all don't know who Crook and Joel Ortiz are, they come from the legendary group Slaughterhouse, lyrically gifted group. That was probably one of the best groups to be formed. They're disbanded, right? They broke up, and but it was a conversation. I thought it was good. I wanted to continue the conversation about this, and hey, listen, Math, you my OG. I told you, I'm calling you my OG. Don't sue me, because I'm about to play the clips for this. Okay, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave us alone. Leave us, please. We just trying to carry on the conversation, right? Yeah, check this out.
I wanted to ask y'all, Liz, how are you viewing lyricism? Like, is it just ill penmanship, word flips, similes, metaphors, or does some shit that stick to your ribs count as lyricism?
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, he was.
Yeah, cause I think some people view lyricism in different light.
It's like a code. For me, lyricism is like metaphors, similes, like just depth to what you're writing. Like, it's not, you can't just take it for face value. There's something in there. It's like a code.
Conversation today on Twitter with Ransom. You know what I'm saying? And they were talking about some hip hop page didn't really understand elite lyricism and what it takes to be an elite lyricist, and what kind of tools and technical abilities an elite lyricist has. And a lot of people were like, yo, you're a hip hop page, you're supposed to know this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And me and Ransom were kind of educating this dude a little bit on what double entendres and metaphors and all that is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you start talking to people, you start realizing that sometimes you gotta be either super into it from the gate, or you gotta be a writer to understand certain levels.
So it doesn't always appeal to the masses.
It doesn't always appeal to the masses.
But it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't change what it is.
It doesn't change what it is.
Okay, what's James Brown? What's the first word that comes to your head when I say James Brown? What is he?
Hey! What?
Would you call him a singer?
Yes.
Okay. What's Luther Vandross?
A singer. Why you?
Do you think one can sing next to the other? You ever heard him do what Luther does? You ever heard him do what Aretha Franklin can do?
So
dropping some heaviness there. Woo.
I believe, and so that whole conversation was ill because they were talking about how Twista had told him this thing where he was like, I'd rather die and go to hell before I'm whack. To be whack, I'd rather die and go to hell before I become a whack MC.
It's kind of an intense comment there.
But see that is intense to you. But see, when you take your craft serious, when you come from a place where it's dog eat dog, so you gotta understand there's a process to become a great lyricist. There are people who are great lyricists that never made it. It's just like when, like, we know there's somebody in jail right now better than Jordan. Right now, somebody's in jail. There's better than Jordan. He never got the shot. They had to go through that person, that the illest lyricist. They had to go through that person to get there, and he knows that he owed that person who didn't make it. He owes that person, like, yo, like, I gotta hold up the standard. They'd have been through 50 ciphers. Even just the fact of how they were living, like, they could have took the easy route. A lot of lyricists could have took the MC Hammer route. They could have took the for real, because they're not lyricists. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, they're not lyricists, but they sacrifice to be great at what they do, right? Yes, you may think it's intense, but to them, they like, yo, I gotta be the best ever, and it's like I always tell you, Trim, there are lyrical people, like, they got people that can put words together, and you got people who put words together, triple entendres. The wordplay is like, let's just go back a little bit. Just educate a lot of people. See, because for me, I've seen all phases of hip hop. I've seen the hit, I've seen that. I seen what you hear. I heard the what's the other groups that used to do that? Hurrah! Like, I done seen y'all out there know who I'm talking about. Y'all know those groups I'm talking about, right? They, those people who land. And I'm not trying to be funny, but the groundwork that was placed down, the blueprint. I seen the blueprint. I seen Rakim. Rakim changed the game. Like, he changed the way, because it was one point, and Rakim will tell you, where they thought that they was going to be nothing else to say. And then Rakim came and he made sure that every line that he wrote was the dopest thing that you ever saw or ever heard in your life. He made sure every bar was the best thing that he ever put on a piece of paper. And that birthed every rapper in the game. He looked up to Melly Mel, but the lyricism comes from Rakim. The lyricism, the way he puts things together, when he says he'll freeze you and throw you in hell and watch your eyeballs swell. That's Rakim. I still get chills every time I hear him say stuff like that. Like, he said, I will freeze you, put you in hell, and watch your eyeballs swell. Like, I put his first album against anybody's first album, and y'all not matching up lyrically what he did. And then that birthed Nas, that birthed Pac, that birthed Big. You know, Then you got other people in that era that added up. You got Karis One, you got Kane, you got Slick Rick. These are the people who birthed lyricism, in my personal opinion. Y'all can go, any other historian can go back, but Rakim is the one. Now, 90s full of lyricists. It's the only way. Like, now Melly Mel, I'll give Melly Mel some credit in the 80s, because Melly Mel, when you listen to the message, he painted a picture like no other. Broken glass everywhere. Killed it. A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. I mean, it was superior. But this conversation, back to this conversation. I'm off my soapbox. This conversation is interesting because Jewel, he asks a question. How do you view lyricism? So I ask you guys the same question. How do you view lyricism?
Go ahead, Chuck.
Oh man, lyricism. I think I treat lyricism like I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, because usually with lyricism is kind of like a blend of being able to articulate your thoughts in a meaningful way, in a clever way, but also something that sticks with you at the same time, that has a feel. So sometimes, like, that's kind of the argument with like Tupac versus Biggie, because Tupac may not necessarily hit you with the most intricate wordplay, but he has like, it's almost like soul food. It just sticks to you. Really has a feeling that you can't really describe. But Biggie hitting you with his cadence and delivery and voice and wordplay. So fact to choose kind of like one between the others, probably gonna be Biggie in that sense, but I understand why people will go with Tupac as far as his ability to just keep it in the pocket, keep it simple but yet profound, and then have that feeling to it. So but I'm always a fan of, like, even like Jay-Z old stuff. You can just, like, you hear it and you pull something different from it than you did initially, because he's added layers to his raps. So that defines lyricism for me.
Trev?
Me, I agree. Like, lyricism is definitely a craft to actually putting together. You taking the time to think about what you're going to say, and you're using your platform to your advantage to be able to drop something that's going to make your listeners think, that's going to make it stick to them, so they can take something from it to help them grow to be something bigger than what they were before they first listened to it. I think today, in today's modern music, it's a craft that is, sometimes I feel, is lost in today's modern music, because a lot of new artists coming out now, they're not thinking about that. And I think the craft has gotten kind of a little bit tarnished, for the simple fact that people were coming into music for the wrong reasons. When a lot of people realized that they could actually get rich and get paid for doing for making music, it was looked as a like a gimme ticket. Like it's like, oh shoot, I could do that. I got this, I got that, or I got this amount of followers. I can do this. I can get a follow. I got people that's gonna listen to my stuff. And then record companies got their whole little spin on it to where they're just looking at numbers and whatever. And so I think the craft, the art form got lost, and then you got the market flooded with a whole bunch of just random music that just people who are not taking their time of really perfecting what they're saying and coming out. And granted, I mean, just like you were saying, like it's different music out there for different people. But when you're talking about like you do, like when you say that you do hip hop music, and you gotta break it into categories to where, okay, what kind of hip hop music are you doing? Are you a lyricist or MC, or are you just a rapper? And a lot of times people just they try to blend the two together. But I mean, to your credit, Tino, I mean, you said it before. There is a difference between an artist and an MC, and it's when you're talking about lyrics and lyricism, that's something that's a craft. That takes time for people to actually sit there and just put something that's gonna stick with you together. So that's my whole take on it. That it is a major difference of it. I think that it's an art form that it needs to be highly respected, and we need more lyricism out there. And I think there is a lot of good lyricism out there. I just think that it gets overshadowed with a lot of noise that's out there now that's on everything you turn around to. I mean, as long as it got that trap beat or that drill music beat, that's all that matters. And then everything else, you can be saying the door, hit the wall. And as long as you got a beat, you'll sell. You'll sell.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, definitely is a lot of people out there just saying some craziness with a dope beat on it. But how do y'all judge lyricism though? Like what I'm saying is like, when y'all hear a song, what do you like? Do you know how to rate a lyricist? Like, do you know how to like break it down to where it's like, all right, is like this rapper is a superior lyricist. This rapper is, this rapper right here is because see, here's the thing. There's levels to lyricism, right? How do in your mind, do y'all have a way to break down like the categories or levels of lyricism? Or is it just like everybody is put in this dope category?
I will say I do have tiers in my head. I haven't put out it constructed in a way of like being able to articulate it fully. But if I hear like an artist or a song, I can tell like, okay. And of course, you have to kind of do it in a body of work process, because sometimes artists can be just having a different intention depending on the song. But if you look at their body of work, whatever that may be, it could be one album, a few albums, or a few songs, or whatever the case may be. But you can start kind of getting a picture of like, okay, this artist's gift is, all right, he's doing just enough to get through these 12, 16 bars to get to the hook. He got a vibe to him. All right, that's one tier. Then you got another tier above that where he'll say, okay, this artist right here, he has he takes it a step further where he said, he adding some different elements in his wordplay. He's changing cadence from verses, and yet can still maintain his vibe or authenticity with it. Cool. Then you start getting to the higher levels of tiers where they just like a person can do it all. Like they are gifted at putting words together, adding layers with storytelling, adding layers of experience, and also have a vibe that's very distinctive. Then of course maybe you add delivery to it, and may have a certain voice that just cuts through tracks. So you add all those kind of elements, and you like, all right, this is kind of God tier of rap. So I kind of have these kind of tiers as I'm listening, but again, I'm just thinking this out loud because I never said this before. But when I'm hearing songs, it's how but on the radio, it's very few. It's all kind of the same to me. It's kind of like a little, it's just, it's just enough to get through to that verse. Not that verse. There's enough on the verse to get to the hook. That's the end game. So they can, keep this on repeat, beat the algorithm. That's really the thing. That's the, like Trim, you were saying earlier, that's a drawback with no barrier to entry or having an easy barrier to entry. You're going to get a whole lot of just not good stuff where you don't have unfortunately, like back in the day when you have these guards that are saying, hey, you got to go through a process before we can say you nice or you gifted at this. Now it's just kind of like it's like the wild west, and then now we're in the era of, I call it the dumbed down music, where we're just trying to just have a nice little 3-minute vibe, and then we out. We're going to the next song, another 3-minute vibe, going to the next. So there's nothing sticks with no one, like, and it's just because of the way that the music game is set up in general, you can't, it never really sticks with you. It's not built to do that. It's built for you to just keep, going from one thing to the next. So that's the unfortunate part. But yeah, that's kind of my, my thoughts on, how I judge lyricism.
Trim, how do you have do you break down lyrics? Like, do you know? And it's okay to say, like, if you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, or is everybody like in like one dope group? You know what I'm saying? Because some people just don't. They not really. I'm a hip hop nerd, right? I mean, I'm definitely a hip hop nerd.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't expect everybody to like see it the way I see it. But but do you break down lyrics like that, or do you have like tiers of like MCs?
Silk the Shocker, the greatest MC ever
Stop
lived.
it.
See, we're not gonna get it.
Stop it.
You gonna start capping right there. We're not doing that.
Right.
See, you know what's sad though?
What's up?
I don't mean to do your turn, Trim, but I judge my lyricism really don't kick in for us judging until I'm listening to battle rap. Like just normal songs, that filter don't really kick in. But if I'm listening to battle rap, it's like it's heightened.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, this dude right. Like, but right now,
that's all that is lyricism.
That's it. But even within the battle rap culture, you can start to see that lyricism still king, but it's all about performance too, right? Because back in the day, it was really about lyricism, but now if you don't perform well, especially in a big room, it's hard to be at the top of the food chain. So that's why Tay-Rock is Tay-Rock,
right?
And Lux, so like Lux is like, for me, God tier of lyricism. Like this dude
boy, Lux crazy.
Lux on some other stuff, but
yeah.
The one that's coming up for me is A-Ward. A-Ward is probably the best at rebuttaling anything you throw at him. Like because a lot of guys come in with their 3 rounds, they mostly written. They may throw a small rebuttal in there, but he can literally, Clips, and guys like that, they can really freestyle, and that's hard. Like, Tino, he loves Clips. When Clips on,
Clips is crazy. Man. Clips is crazy. Man.
He on some other stuff. So yeah, that's one for me. Like battle rap is really fun because you can kind of digest lyricism in its kind of truest form as much as we can get it, compared to like just listening to radio, which it's just gonna be just a vibe.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't broken down like the criteria. I mean, like I haven't broken down like categories as far as how I rank each individual like piece of lyrics that come in from a song for me. But I do listen for certain things. Like I listen for patterns. I listen for clever wordplay, and I listen for the ability for somebody to tell me a story creatively with what they're saying. And I also listen to subject matter, like how many times, like what are you going to tell me something new in a song that you about to let me hear, and how creative can you be with telling it? Like prime example, I love how Big would get on a track. His ability to tell a story and at the same time to be able to his wordplay, putting words together, it's like you wouldn't think, like, man, you wouldn't expect a lot of stuff that he would say when he's telling it to you. But I do look for how creative you are, man, as far as lyricism. Again, hands down, one of my favorite MCs of all time, Andre 3000. That's for me. That's everything in a package as far as a lyricist. That's just in my book. But yeah, but I don't break it down as far as well, different tiers or anything like that. But I do listen for different things as far as like how creative are you. It's just like you're reading a book. Like with an author, different authors have different things. They're telling you stuff, but it's how they do it, how they go about doing certain things. Can you like? It's a lot to be put into that, in my opinion. I
agree. I mean, shout out to 3 Stacks. I mean, even though you didn't come out with a solo album, I still love it.
I was just about to say that. Like, I'm waiting on this.
You know, but I mean, hey, you're part of one of the greatest groups of all time, man. Shout out to you. So all right, I'm about to throw some names out to y'all, man, and I want y'all to tell me whether or not they're lyricists or not. Oh Lord. Young Jeezy.
Subscribe for the very latest.